Before the break, we're talking about Nigeria's health sector as we look forward to Nigeria's independence on October 1st. I've been joined on the news at 10 now by the president of the Nigerian Medical Association, Dr. Francis Faduyile. He joins us from our studio in Abuja. Dr. Faduyile, thank you for joining us on the news at 10.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here.
We do appreciate your being here. Nigeria's population, we understand, is not what it used to be. It's evident. At independence, would you say there's been a corresponding growth between medical facilities and population growth?
Well, I think it's good for us to examine how well we are putting things in place to support the population growth. Population growth cannot just be left alone without putting more funding into the health industry or health sector so as to be able to complement the increase in the number of people that will have access to these health facilities. What we have had been that government has largely, in all the three tiers of government, they have largely abandoned healthcare system, and it has been left at that rudimentary level that it had been before independence. Unfortunately, because we had much more people who need to access health, it has made it very difficult for us to be able to improve, to be able to have much more people to be taken care of. And this had caused a lot of havoc in our health sector that we have seen from the period of our independence up to today. For example, in the last 5, 10, 15 years, I can tell you the amount budgeted for health has been abysmally low, between 3 and 4%, whereas in 2010, when African head of states met in Abuja, it was stated that at least 15% must be budgeted for health for the African continent to be able to take care of health of its citizens. And
right.
One thing that was done in Nigeria, Nigeria has never in any way done anything to support that. But that is for the federal government.
But how can, sorry, Dr. Faduyile, how can that be reversed? Because you're saying a lot of things at the moment. You're talking about more patients to the ratio of doctor to patients. You have 1 doctor to 600 patients. We also have the ratio of 1 doctor to over 4,000 patients in some instances. And yet the country is also faced with a brain drain. How do we reverse these?
Like I was saying before, I had said that the major problem we have is at the state level and the local government level. The state governments have totally abandoned health. They prefer to have hospitals that are being opened than to have medical personnel, health workers in place. We have so many places that we do not have enough medical personnel in that place. And again, we have a lot of health workers that are yearning to be employed, but once there are no spaces that are open to them, certainly they will find somewhere to go and take care of themselves. And if we are talking about doctor-patient relationship, where we'll be looking most at what we see in the urban area. In the rural areas, we can have more than 1 to 20,000, even up to 30,000, which is very alarming for the health system in this country. One thing we need to do is the government improving its funding towards education, which will make us produce more health workers, and to improve its funding towards health ministry, so that we can open more spaces. The most important place we need to work on is at the primary healthcare level. What most of us discuss is at the tertiary health level, and majority of Nigeria, over 80% of Nigeria, we actually need to assess health at the primary care level, and that is not functional in this country, and that is the unfortunate thing. And we need the state government, we need the local government to key into believing that we need to improve health. Everybody looks at the federal government. Although what federal government does is not good enough, but what is happening at the state and local government is the worst of all. And again, we have found out that out-of-pocket payment for health cannot improve health. We need health insurance scheme to be fully mandatory for all Nigerians so that they can access qualitative health at the right time. And we have good things that the National Assembly has done. They have repealed the NHIS, they have enacted another one, waiting. The bill is on the table of the president, waiting for to be assented to. And we are believing the president should make this as one of the independence celebration to sign it so that every Nigeria will have to partake in the National Health Insurance Scheme so that we can have enough funding to taking care of Nigerians.
And that's where we leave it tonight. Dr. Francis Fadiyile, thank you so much for speaking with us on the News at 10.
Thank you.
The federal government says it is set to make power available to all Nigerians in every home in the power generation system as it partners with Greenville liquefied natural gas plant operators to achieve this. Minister of State for Power, Godi Jediagba, explains that when the facility is completed, the Kaduna power plant will be one of the facilities to benefit from the gas plant.
This is Greenville plant, located along the east-west axis Rumuji community in Emoha local government area of Rivers State. Before the facility tour, the operations manager briefs the visiting team on safety procedures of the organization. The Minister of State for Power, Mr. Godi Agba, is here to see things for himself.
What I've seen is very good, very, very impressive. I'm tempted to say the project is started already, but you know, we still have finishing touches to do, little finishing touches to do, and we're on the right track. But what I see here is very impressive. We have 2 of these in the country. We're good to go.
Thereafter, he explains that Kaduna Power Plant will be one of the facilities in the country that will benefit from the Greenville LNG plant.
If they're fully ready and we are fully committed, it's buyer and seller. They have a commodity which we require, we have the need for it, we take, and they supply.
Responding to questions from journalists, the chairman of Greenville LNG, Eddie Vanderbro, says despite the fact that the project was delayed by General Electric for 4 years, Greenville LNG will work tirelessly to ensure that it develops all the industries in the north to provide steady power supply.
I think with this facility can be repeated 3 times nearly in the same area. So that would give a huge advantage in a very short time. Before ever there is a pipeline in the north, this can develop completely all the industries in the north.
We are trying to bridge the gap between the north and the south, and there are no gas available. There are no pipelines yet in the north. So the idea was to bring the power to the north.
Chairman of Emoha local government area in River State acknowledges the important role it will play in the heart of the nation.
The community and the company has an understanding which I know the company is going to accomplish by global standard, because I will not allow the company to sustain the community in any way.
As Nigerians await improved power generation, expectations are high that Greenville will contribute to helping power Nigeria through the regular provision of gas.
Recently, there have been concerns around the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria. The government says it is aware of the situation and the homegrown school feeding program as part of its strategy to attract more children to primary school. The attendance and performance of students in secondary school is yet another concern. Earlier this week, the National Bureau of Statistics released more information about the 2018 examination results organized by the West African Examinations Council. Joining me now is Channels Television's data consultant, Babajide Ogusowo, to discuss the 2018 WAEC results and its implications. Babajide, this is a pretty interesting topic for you. First of all, while there are several achievements and challenges facing education in Nigeria, how have we performed? How have our secondary school education performed over the years, considering the 2018 WAEC result that's been released?
I like the way you've started it, but permit me to start from a slightly different perspective. And you know, I have this up in my hand, and I'll ask you a question. What am I holding up here?
That's your passport. Or a passport, sorry.
Okay. Now, just like you, in the last 3 decades, I've always believed this is a passport.
And the Nigerian passport.
The Nigerian passport. But what if I tell you this isn't the Nigerian passport? What do I mean? Education is the passport of the future. Malcolm X. And so this really is the Nigerian travel document. Education is the Nigerian passport. So tonight, I'd like to start with looking at the top 3 facts on the recent results of WAEC. And the first fact shows that 1.7 million students wrote and sat for the WAEC examination results. Why is this 1.7 million number so important? There's a small country beside Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea. Even the population of Equatorial Guinea is not up to 1.7 million. And so every year, this means that we must be creating at least 1.7 million new employment opportunities for these young Nigerians. Now let's carefully look at the second fact. The second fact reveals that 93% of all these students that wrote WAEC, 93% are in public secondary schools. And so when people ask about where is the future of Nigeria, Amrachi, the future of Nigeria is in the public secondary school. Because those that attend the public secondary schools will become the new teachers of the future. They will be the new civil servants. And yes, they will be the public servants. So the future of Nigeria is in the public secondary school. Now let's also look at the third fact, which is where we should be concerned about. More than half of those 1.7 million students that sat for WAEC had less than the required pass mark. And by that we mean 5 credits in English, 5 credits including English and maths. Less than half of the students had less than 5 credits in English and maths. And so the question is, why are students not doing well in WAEC? And that is the right question to ask.
Yeah, and those who didn't do well in English and maths, are they the subjects, you know, that are there areas in the country where people have performed better in these subjects, and are there ways that we can improve on them?
You know, English and maths are important just like the other subject. But why English and maths is where a lot of Nigerians focus on is because you need English and maths to be able to attend some courses in university. If you want to become a doctor, you want to become an engineer, you want to become a scientist, you need English and maths. So I'd like us to quickly take a very fast look about the regional performance, because we don't have enough time to look at the performance state by state. And here's what you'll find if we take a close look at the regional performance. Southeast, if there were to be a gold medal, 66% of students that sat for the exam in the southeastern region had a minimum of 5 credits, including English and maths. If you look carefully, what you will notice is all the 3 northern regions had scored less than 50%. In short, the regions in the north require to improve in the performance of maths and English. What does this mean? This means that it is most unlikely for doctors and engineers
to emerge from these areas.
Exactly.
Right. And then you have a pretty interesting statistic on girls' attendance in secondary schools. Tell me about that.
You know, we need to protect our girls. And quickly, what the attendance and what the results from the National Bureau of Statistics reveals is that there are still a lot of states where our girls are not attending school. And if you quickly pull that up, what you will find out is a lot of the states in the north, from Katsina, Taraba, Bauchi, Sokoto, Kebbi, Jigawa, Yobe, Zamfara. We see that a lot of the students that wrote WAEC within these states were male. So for instance, let's look at Zamfara. Only 29% of students who wrote WAEC in Zamfara state were women. And that has significant implications for how the economy is structured, because it simply means the girls within those states will not be able to compete with the men in future. And whatever it is, even if you can't remember all of the statistics we've shared tonight, let's remember this.
Passport.
That this is a travel document. The passport of the future
is education.
Malcolm X.
Thank you so much, Babajide. Pretty interesting conversation with you. Thanks for being with us here on the News at 10. As Nigeria looks forward to the celebration of her 59th independence anniversary, one critical concern of the people of Alifokpa in Yache, Yala local government area of Cross River State is the need for government to attend to its road network, which is in a sorry state. The federal road is said to have been constructed since the colonial era, is subjecting people plying it to hardship, and they're appealing for urgent intervention. Our community report tonight takes a look at the state of the road and its impact on the people.
It's a long and arduous 6-hour journey accessing Alifokpa community in Yache, Yala local government area of Cross River State from the state capital, Calabar. The historical town is home to about 200,000 inhabitants and reputed to have hosted the first colonialists and early missionaries. There is also the Lord Lugard Wall, which separated the northern and southern protectorates before eventual amalgamation took place in 1914.
This boundary actually presently separates Cross River State from Benue State. And over the years, it's been depleted by mankind activities. You can see the physical boundary is almost gone now.
Alifokpa is an agrarian society, and the people pride themselves in the variety of produce from their farms, which they sell off on market days such as this. However, getting their product to the market is usually a tug of war for the people of Alifokpa, who, despite their early contact with the missionaries, are left bereft of basic amenities.
It has been very bad and tedious for us. This particular road you are seeing now lead all the way from here to Benue State, and it is the shortest.
An empty vehicle cannot just pass through, as you already observed, and this helps to lead to breakdown of vehicles and cause more havoc. And road users are not finding it easy.
The only existing bridge over River Okpoku is the Akreha, said to have been constructed in 1921. It's a major connecting point for the people here, who have, through communal efforts, kept it functional.
We are appealing to all government, facet of government, at state level, at federal level. The NDDC, they should help us and put this bridge in shape once and for all.
The tales of Alifokpa community in Yache, Yala local government area, is as far from being pleasant as the town is from the city center. Judging by the people's crave for attention, any project targeted at them from the state or the federal government will most definitely be a welcome development.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Divine Odurudu qualifies for 200 meters semi-finals at the World Athletics Championships in Doha. We'll have more in sports news. Please stay with us.